Hello and welcome to Radicals 2.3, square root equals linear. Okay, so this time we're going to solve for square roots again, and this time we're going to have one side a square root and the other side is going to be something linear, like a binomial, yeah, where it's like x plus 5, like you see in this first problem. Okay, and that's going to cause something different to happen. It's going to actually cause more work. All right, so if you guys have been noticing, as the lesson progressed from 2.1 to 2.2 and now 2.3, it's slowly getting a little bit more complicated. Okay, and this one's going to be the most complicated of the three. Okay, so let's jump into our first problem and let's see what happens. All right, so I'm actually gonna write this reverse. Okay, I'm gonna write it the opposite way from what I have in the on the board or on the screen. I'm going to write the square root on the left side and the x plus 5 on the right side. Okay, so let's do this. So square root of 18x plus 13. Ooh, I didn't write this square root symbol long enough. And then equals x plus 5. And I'm going to put this in a parentheses already. I'm going to start prepping for what I know is going to happen already. Okay, so first step is to get rid of that square root, right? I don't want to subtract x, I don't want to subtract 5, because if I do that, it's not going to join anything on the left side anyway. And when kids make a mistake, they subtract x and they turn this 18x into 17x. And when kids make a mistake, they subtract 5 and they turn 13 into 8. Don't do that. These 13s and 18x's there on the inside of the square root, they're not allowed to interact with anything you bring over to the left side. So your only play is to square both sides. Okay, so here's why I wrote and I switched the order. Okay, so when you square both sides, you basically have 2x plus 5s. So rather than putting a square, I'm going to write x plus 5 twice. Okay, because that's basically what a square is. It just tells you that you have two of them. Okay, so left side is pretty standard, pretty simple as far as what you guys have been seeing all throughout the last couple of lessons. You're going to get 18x plus 13. The right side, you're going to FOIL. So I hope you guys remember your foiling, where you're going to go x times x, x times 5, 5 times x, and 5 times 5. That's foiling. So x times x is x squared, x times 5 is positive 5x, 5 times x is 5x again, and 5 times 5 is 25. Okay, so you're going to FOIL. Yeah, and I'm not writing it the way I did vertically like I did in the previous lesson last quarter. I'm doing horizontally, so you guys got to make that transition. Okay, so let's combine like terms on the right side. So 18x plus 13 equals x squared plus 10x plus 25. Okay, so now that we have a square in the problem, okay, we have a quadratic, and that's going to call for different steps. So you're going to have to get everything on one side equal to 0. That's what it's going to take to start the process called solving for x. So you can move everybody on the left side if you want to, but that's going to cause your x squared to be negative. And we don't want that. At all costs, we want to try to keep x squared positive. So rather than putting x squared, 10x, and 25 on the left side by subtracting, we're going to put 18x and 13 on the right side instead, because that's going to allow us to keep the x squared positive. Right? You want to keep it positive at all costs. So subtract 18x and subtract 13. All right, so what do we got? We got 0 on the left side equals x squared, and what is this, minus 8x and plus 12. Okay, so now that this is a quadratic, you have one of three options. You can factor, you can complete the square, or you can quad formula. Luckily, we can factor this, right? There's two numbers that can make 12 when I multiply, and negative 8 when I add. Okay, and that's why factoring, that's why we went over it so much last quarter, because it's going to be a very useful skill to have. Okay, so what two numbers make 12 when I multiply and negative 8 when I add? Well, let's check it out. So I'm going to make my two blank parentheses equal to 0. And it doesn't matter what side your equal 0 is on. It was on the left side earlier, I can put it on the right side. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to put x's in the front because they're in charge of making the x squared. Then I'm going to put the two numbers that make negative 12 in these two blanks. Okay, so multiply to make positive 12. Or did I say negative 12 earlier? I meant to say positive 12, sorry. So negative 2 and negative 6 are going to multiply to make positive 12, and negative 2 and negative 6 combine to make negative 8. So this has been factored, and when I solve for x, I'm going to set each of these guys equal to 0. And when I set them equal to 0, this left side is going to be a 2, this right side is going to be a 6. So here's the part that you're going to hate. And I don't know if you realize it's coming, but it's here. Okay, we have 2 potential answers for this problem. Okay, so we got to check x equals 2, and we also have to check x equals 6. So we got twice as much work as far as checking answers are concerned. And I hope I'm leaving myself enough space. If I don't, I'll just erase that line. Okay, so we're going to plug into our original problem. So we got, what do we got? We got 2 plus 5 equals question mark, and then square root of 18 times 2 plus 13. Oh, I didn't make that square root symbol long enough. Okay, and we're going to draw a line down the middle to signify we cannot allow them to interact on both sides. So left side becomes 7. So that's pretty simple. So all I got to do is see if the right side becomes 7. And if it does, we're in business. 2 is a legit answer. Okay, so let's see what happens. So we got 36 plus 13. Then we got square root of 49. Then we know 49 is known as 7 times 7. And we can circle those pair of numbers that just matched, and they can go outside as a result, and I get a 7. So what do we conclude? We conclude that my 2 sides, left side, right side, we conclude that they match. So that makes us happy. You know why it makes us happy? Because it says 2 is a legit answer. And now all we have to do is check 6 and see if he's a legit answer also. So let's do this. So plug 6 into our original problem. So we got 6 plus 5 equals, and we don't know if it's actually equal or other, so I got to put a question mark, and then square root of 18 times 6 plus 13. And draw a line to signify we can't allow the 2 sides to interact. So we got 11 on the left side. So let's hope we can get an 11 on the right side. So what do we got? We got square root of 18 times 6. What is that? Is that like 108? Yeah, it is. I hope it is. Okay, 108. Okay, plus 13. And then that's going to make square root of 121. And then I'm going to recognize that 121 is the result of 11 times 11. Then I'm going to break out my red pen, which means I can start circling things that match, and I have 11s matching. So these 11s are going to jump outside, or an 11, not 11s. 11 is going to jump outside, and my right side is an 11 also. So when I compare both sides, what do I conclude? I conclude that they match. And how does that make us feel? It makes us feel happy, because 6 works also. And there you go. Okay, so a lot of work, yeah, a lot of writing. All right, and keep this in mind: is checking your answer an option? No, it's mandatory in these problems. Okay, I mean you can not check it if you want to, but I'm not going to give you a 4 at that point, yeah, or a perfect score. Okay, number 2. All right, so what do we got? So we got. Okay, I'm gonna switch around the order again. Okay, so we're gonna put square root of 3x minus 14 on the left side equals quantity x minus 4. I'm going to put that in parentheses. Okay, so our only play is to square both sides. So when I square the right side, I'm just going to write x minus 4 2 times though. So left side I get 3x minus 14. Right side I'm going to get x squared minus 4x plus 16. Okay. Then I'm going to combine like terms on the left side, or right side rather, and I get x squared minus 8x plus 16. Okay, and I'm going to move my 3x and my negative 14 over to the right side. So minus 3x plus 14 Okay, so what do we got? We got 0 on the left side equals x squared minus 11x plus 30. Okay, so just like before, we have three options. We can factor, we can complete the square, or we can quad formula. Luckily, we can factor, right? What two numbers make 30 when I multiply and negative 11 when I add? And luckily, those numbers are negative 6 and negative 5. So if you can factor, you should always factor because it makes this process of solving way faster. Okay, so you're going to set both of these guys equal to 0 so you can get your two potential answers. So first potential answer is 6. Second potential answer is 5. Okay, so let's check our answers. And I hope I leave myself enough space. So let's check x equals 6. So plug into the original problem. So we got, what is this, 6 minus 4 on the left side equals question mark, because we don't know if it is equal. Then square root of 3 times 6 minus 14. And draw a line signifying the two sides are not allowed to interact. So left side I get 2. So that was pretty simple. Right side I get square root of 18 minus 14, which becomes square root of 4, which becomes square root of 2 times 2. Get my red pen out, circle things that match. And right side I get a 2. So left side is 2, right side is 2. How do we feel about this? Well, they match, so we're kind of happy. Yay! So 6 is a legit answer. Okay, so now let's check x equals 5. And let's see if he works. So plug into your original problem. So we got 5 minus 4 equals question mark, because we don't know if it equals. So we're just going to do this process called checking to see if it actually does. So 3 times 5 minus 14. And draw a line, signify they cannot interact with each other. Okay, so left side we get 1, so that's cool. That's easy. Right side we get 15 minus 14, which is square root of 1, and the square root of 1 is 1. So compare left side and right side. What do we conclude? How do we feel? Well, we conclude that they match. And how do we feel about that? We're happy. Yay. So put a 5 also on that line. Okay, try to remember this, yeah. When you put your answers on the line, try to put them in numerical order if you can remember. Okay, if you put 6, 5, that's fine for me right now. Eventually, I won't be fine with that. But for now, I think there's other things you guys got to worry about. Okay, but I know definitely your teachers next year for trig and pre-calc and algebra, they will not let you guys write 6, 5. Okay, so please make sure you put them in numerical order. All right. Okay, so is there another problem? I think there is. Yeah, there is. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, so let's switch the order. So x plus 1 left side, and then x minus 5 on the right side. Okay, so let's square both sides. So write x minus 5 2 times, because that's the same thing as a square, right? So left side I get x plus 1. Right side I get x squared, and I'm going to start taking shortcuts with these steps because I think I'm going to need some room with this problem. So I'm going to start doing that combining of like term step in my head. So negative 5x, that's going to make negative 10x. And then negative 5, that's positive 25. So I skipped the step. I skipped the step where I normally write negative 5x. Yeah, but I'm kind of skipping that because I have a feeling I'm going to need the space. Okay, so let's move this negative, or move this x and this positive one to the other side. And yeah, we'll see. Did I actually need to skip the step? We'll see. I think I did. I'm not sure. I didn't do this problem beforehand, so this is kind of not new because I haven't seen this in about a year. Yeah, but we'll see. So x squared minus 11x plus 24. Okay, so can this be factored? I think it can. Oh, I didn't have to skip that step. Sorry about that if it confused you. Okay, so do I have two numbers that make 24 when I multiply and negative 11 when I add? Yeah, I think I do. It's going to be negative 8 and negative 3. So yeah, sorry if I caused you stress by skipping the negative 5x step. Okay, I thought I was going to need more space. Maybe it's problem 4 that I need more space. Okay, so equals 0, so I can solve for x. So my first potential answer is 8. My second potential answer is 3. Okay, so let's check our answer. So x equals 8. All right, so what do we got? Okay, so plug into the original problem. So 8 minus 5 equals square root of 8 plus 1. And ooh, forgot to write the question mark because we don't know if they're equal. That's what we're trying to prove. Okay, so left side we get 3. That's a pretty easy solve right there. Right side we get square root of 9. And at this point, you guys are probably hopefully getting familiar with your perfect squares. And you know that 9 is a perfect square, so that's 3 times 3. And when they get circled, it's just going to become a 3. Okay, so hopefully these perfect squares are starting to get familiar and you can work it out faster. Okay, so left and right side are both 3. So it matches. And like I always ask, or I don't always ask it, but I've been asking it recently. How does that make you feel? And you say happy. Because it matches. So this is a legit answer. Okay, so let's check out x equals 3 now. So plug into your original problem. So what do we got? We got 3 minus 5 and equals question mark and square root of 3 plus 1. Okay, so left side we get negative 2. That was pretty simple. Right side we get square root of 4, which is known as 2 times 2, which when I circle it, jumps out as regular plain old 2. Oops, wrong color. Sorry. Okay, purple. Okay, it comes out as 2. So circle that, compare both sides, and what do we see? Well, these guys are not matching because one side says negative 2, the other says positive 2. So this does not match. So how does that make us feel? We're kind of bummed out. We cannot use this answer anymore. So our only answer is 8. Yeah, because 3 didn't work. It happens. Okay? All right. Last problem. And I think this is the one that I need more space. Okay, so let's try it out. So square root of x minus 3 equals 9 minus x. So let's put that in parentheses. Okay, I don't think I'm going to combine my step this time because what they put in the parentheses is kind of, it's not scary, but it's not your normal type of binomial. And it might get you confused if I skip some steps. So I'm not going to skip this step, even if I kind of run out of space. Okay, so x minus 3 on the left side equals, so 9 times 9 is 81. 9 times negative x is negative 9x. Negative x times 9, negative 9x. And negative x, positive x squared. Okay, so left side is still x minus 3. Right side, we're going to combine like terms, and we're going to also reorder my terms by putting them in descending order. So x squared in the front, and go down from there. So negative 9x is negative 18x, and positive 81 at the very end. So that's called descending order, right? So you're putting your biggest power in the front, your smallest power in the back. Okay, so let's get rid of this x and negative 3 by putting it on the other side. And remember, I didn't say this for a while, but when you put these numbers on the other side, you want to try to move the things that are going to keep the x squared positive. And right now x squared is positive, so that's why we're moving everybody to the right side. So you get 0 equals x squared minus 19x plus 84. Okay, so is this going to be a perfect square also? Not perfect square, but factorable also. Yeah, I think it is. It's going to be 12 and 7. Yeah, it is. Cool. Awesome. So I think I might have space. Okay, so we're going to go x minus 12 and x minus 7. Right, because negative 12, negative 7 make positive 84 when I multiply. And negative 12, negative 7 make negative 19 when I add. Okay, so equals 0 for both of these x's. So let's solve for x. So my first potential answer is 12. My second potential answer is 7. Okay, so let's check it to see if both of them work. Sometimes none are going to work. Yeah, sometimes you're going to get a situation where you got two answers, you check them both, and you're going to have none of them work, and it's going to be like, whoa, that's kind of weird. Okay, but it happens, so don't freak out if that happens. Okay, so let's check x equals 12. And plug into your original problem. So you got 9 minus 12 equals question mark square root of 9 minus 3. Is that correct? No, I'm sorry, I did it wrong. It's 12 minus 3. What am I doing? I'm looking at the wrong numbers. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, 12 minus 3. Okay, all right, so back in business. Okay, put that line there. Left side is negative 3. Yeah. And right side is going to be, forgot to circle the negative 3 because that's all I can do with that. And right side is going to be 9. Break apart that 9. That's going to become 3 times 3. Get my red pen out. Circle things that match because they get to go outside if they match. And I get a 3 on the right side. And what do we conclude? Well, we conclude that they don't match. And if they don't match, that makes us sad because we can't use that answer. So 12 is no longer able for us to use. So we're putting our hopes on 7. Hopefully 7 works and at least we can have one answer, but we'll see. So 9 minus 7 equals question mark above the equal sign and then square root of 7 minus 3. And draw my line, signify they're not allowed to interact. I can only compare the two sides. So left side is 2. Right side becomes square root of 4, which becomes square root of 2 times 2. Get my red pen out. Circle the things that match. And this jumps out as plain old regular 2. So let's compare the two sides. And what do we conclude? We conclude that they match. So how does that make us feel? Happy, of course, because that means we have an answer. Okay, so 7's our answer. All right, so a lot more writing. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, but it's kind of a necessary evil. Yeah. So good luck with this lesson. I hope you guys remember your factoring. And if you don't remember how to factor, like I said, you can always go back to complete the square or quad formula. It's going to take up a lot more space though. Okay. But good luck on the assignment and I will see you in class. Bye-bye.